breaking, and it goes a little something like this. It goes a 1, 2, 3, and here we go. 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 DMC and DJ Run. Dum diddy dum diddy diddy dum dum. We're rocking on the mic and you know where we're from. Dum diddy dum diddy diddy dum dum. We hope y'all ready for the big beat drum. Drum diddy drum drum. So people in the place in the big beat come. Here it come, here it come, here it kitty come. Come on everybody, let's all get down. What we have is a brand new sound. So nobody out there be misled. We make up all these rhymes inside our head. The other MCs cannot compete when we rap on the mic to this big beat. The beat is big, it's kind of large, and when we're on the mic, we're in charge.
It's like that jaw,
jaw,
like that jaw,
that jaw,
like that other that, I like that jaw.
that jaw.
Cool G fella, I don't drink fella, but keep a bag of cheaper inside my leg. I go to school every day, on the stomach to pay, cause I'm rocking on the mic until the break all day.
And now the things I do make me a star. And you can be too if you know who you are. Just put your mind to it, you go real far. And the next thing you know, you have a big star.
Listen to the beat that I say, because it's not routine, it's the way I play. Just come out my mouth all time of the day, and then I'm most of the time your Master J.
They used to call me Easy D.
All right, folks. Good morning to you. Good, oh goodness, is it Thursday? Yeah, man, this week is almost gone. So for those of you who are looking forward to the weekend, you are almost there. Congratulations. For those of us who pastor churches and oversee synagogues and masjids, it's more like, Monday. We don't get excited about the weekend because that's just means there's more pressure on you from the people. What will they say this week? Good morning to each of you. It is the Power Hour brought to you each and every morning here, WURD Radio, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., Monday through Friday, every weekday that is. And normally sitting across from me is Bishop Dwayne David Royster, Royster. And, but he's not here today. So today it's just me by myself, Mark Kelly Tyler. I guess this is payback, huh? I wasn't here Tuesday. I should have known that was coming. Say, hey, bro, you're on your own tomorrow. I was thinking like, he said it's not payback, but I kind of feel. No, in all seriousness, you'll actually hear him at the end of the show because he has been called up to the big leagues. Yes, Solomon Jones will not be hosting Wake Up with Word on this morning. And so, of course, they went to Bishop Dwayne Royster to fill in. So while I stay here this morning in the minors, he's getting ready for his big break in the majors at 7. He's going to come in at the end of the program. We'll do a little crosstalk, find out what he's going to be hitting on Wake Up with Word this morning. So you have me all to yourself. Sorry about that, but it is what it is. And yes, Aunt Young on Facebook Live, you absolutely know we're going to talk about Ice Cube. And we're not talking about clubbing, but Cube is a great conversation starter for today. So let me just give you a few things. First of all, if you're on Facebook Live, hit the share button. And I can actually see on here how many of you have done that. So far it's 2. I'm one of them. So let's basically say it's one of you. Now, come on now. If you don't want Jordan, like calling you personally, he's producing the show today. Hit that share button. Let's bring folk in because seriously, we have a great deal to cover. And Kier Bradford Gray, the Chief Public Defender, will be on with us this morning as well to talk about the election, police accountability, and a story that you may have seen about Cassandra Franklin, a person that she is representing. She's her client now, who got into an altercation with the head of the homicide unit of the district attorney's office, got on his bad side, and it's just been a barrage of things happening to this young woman. So she's going to be on to talk to us about that case and generally, things related to it. Kier is always a great guest. Now, the phone lines may or may not be open, but you can try anyway. 215-634-8065, or you can call us toll free, 866 361-0900. You can check us out at 900 AM, 96.1 FM, WURDradio.com, or go to the Google App Store, the iTunes Store. Check us out there. Download the app. That's WURD. And you can also see us on YouTube Live and, of course, the aforementioned Facebook Live. What's up, Raider Nation in Florida? Edwin Bowles is in. Robert Garland is in. Glad to see Valerie in this morning. Raphael is in. He has not mentioned chicken yet, but it's coming. Raphael's two favorite subjects tend to be what type of chicken do preachers like, because he knows that Royster and I are preachers, and Kamala Harris is not black, but East Indian. Come on, Raphael. I already teed it up for you, bro. All you got to do is just hit it. It's an alley-oop. I put it right there on the glass. Just drop it in. Trust me, he never fails. Casa Who is in the house. Rise and shine right back at you. And Larry. So now, oh, my beloved folks, let me just tell you a few of the things that we're going to talk about today, in addition to Ice Cube. And then, honestly, we may not get past Ice Cube, because if your social media timeline is anything like mine, Hoboken Menendez, buenos dias to you as well, my friend. If your timeline looks anything like mine, the only thing people want to talk about is, what the hell is wrong with Ice Cube? But assuming we get a little bit more time, we're going to talk about the bird watcher up in New York, because apparently the first 911 call saying she was being harassed by an African-American man was not enough. There is a second call that's come out where she actually lies and says that he assaulted her. Maybe she's not familiar with the story of Emmett Till, but she tried to Emmett Till that guy. And interestingly enough, that guy, remember, didn't want to press charges. He said, let it go. I wonder if knowing that the second tape came out makes him change his mind. We're going to talk a little bit about that if we get time. Talk about the Fraternal Order of Police in Philadelphia, the Empire Strikes Back, challenging the new law that requires them to negotiate their contract in public. Because why should we change anything from the last 100 years? It's Philly. Leave it just as it is. COVID-19, a new day. And you know what I say every day, right? On this show, a new day means another person in the White House or in that orbit has contracted COVID-19. And yes, once again, a new report. Sadly, this time it's a child, Barron Trump, who is not responsible for his parents' behavior. But Barron, and it's ironic because Trump is always running around saying children are immune to this. Can't get it. Barron Trump, the first lady has said, has also contracted COVID-19. Wishing him well. Giselle Fetterman, second lady of Pennsylvania, was called the N-word, I guess because she's from Brazil. And finally, the Supreme Court hearing, which also includes some news that's coming out about Amy Coney Bryant and her understanding of when the N-word is used, that somewhat relates to what happened to the second lady of Pennsylvania being called an N-word. Not directly, but very much indirectly. Whew, that's a lot to try to get to today. We're going to try to get to all of it. All right? Told you, Raphael, he chose, instead of going for the chicken, he chose to go in on Kamala, telling me to check my facts. She's not black. Oh, Raphael, if I had a 2-hour show today, I would take the time to break that down. But unfortunately, we need to pay attention to what happened in the world of hip hop. An iconic figure, a person who gave us the song F the Police. You remember Q wrote the lyrics for the NWA song. F the Police rolled out in great controversy in his early days by associating himself with the Nation of Islam. His security was often the fruit of Islam. Cube, who in one song said, I believe I'll never eat dinner at the White House. Cube, if we knighted people in the black community, that would be Sir Ice Cube to you and me, right? Yeah, a lot of people on my timeline are saying they're canceling Ice Cube, which is really hard to believe. Give me your thoughts about Cube and what happened. Let me give you kind of the basics, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. We might be able to take a 30-second phone call if somebody wants to get in. Let's hear from somebody we have never heard from. If you're a first-time caller, that'll be great. 215-634-8065, 866-361-0900. So here's the deal. It's all started with a high-ranking Trump official who posted on Twitter, shout out to Ice Cube for helping us create Trump's platinum plan. Now, first of all, I got to tell you, if you listen to this show every day, you know I'm not making this up. I said as much last week when we were talking about the platinum plan. This is Trump's alleged $500 billion investment to black folk, which he has not done yet. He had 4 years, but you know, hey, don't worry about that. Don't look at what I do, just listen to what I say. But did I not say on this show, when I heard the name, the Platinum Plan, that it sounded like they made that up thinking of the club in mind? They must have actually heard Cube in the conversation. Man, we need like a platinum plan. They were like, that's ingenious. That's what we'll call it, the Platinum Plan. Black people like platinum. Truthfully, folks, it's like fool's gold, right? We'll talk about the fool's gold part in a moment, but here's the deal, all right? So Ice Cube has tried to clarify his statement, but I don't know if the explanation makes it any better. He seems to be opening himself up to say that I'm somewhat open to voting for and supporting Donald Trump. Ice Cube created, and again, it's like, you know, nothing new, kind of a conglomeration of all the things that people have been talking about what black folk need, the kind of investments that we talk about on this show all the time, that if you want to end gun violence, if you want to end things, you know, that are tearing up our community, invest in the community, pour money into it, build up our schools, give people living wages, give them quality housing, on and on. Cube is calling it the contract with Black America. So apparently he sent the contract to both political candidates, which makes sense, right? The Trump administration responded, and the Biden campaign, according to Cube, did not. Cube posted this, facts. I put out the contract with Black America. Both parties contacted me. Dems said, we'll address the contract with Black America after the election. Trump campaign made some adjustments to their plan after talking to us about the contract with Black America. So it seems to me, you know, and I listened to Cube of a couple of the videos that he posted, and it really seems like he is, it's kind of like, well, you didn't take the time to talk to me, so I'm going over here with this group. In spite of the fact that this group gives aid and comfort to white supremacists, that this group is celebrating a 17-year-old who murdered 2 people at a Black Lives Matter protest in Kenosha, Wisconsin, as a hero. This group brought on the stage of their national campaign to celebrate and to put forth their candidate 2 white folk who brought an assault rifle and a 9mm out in front of their house to intimidate black protesters who were going to see their mayor who lives in the same neighborhood. This group is the group represented by a candidate who at his last presidential election called for people in his stands at his rallies to knock the hell out of, black protesters who were there. And one actually got the hell knocked out of him. And said candidate, who's now president, never said anything about it. Right? No harm, no foul, I guess? Not sure. I could go on and on and on about this. And I get it, Q. It's frustrating, right? The Democrats frustrate all of us. If you ever listen to this show, you know that. I talk about it all the time about the ways in which we have to be nuanced and how we deal with this party locally and then statewide and then federally. But there is no way that you can look after 4 years of this president's sitting in office and somehow say that just because he talked to you and he listened to you and he entertained you and took your plan and said, we're going to do it, that all of a sudden you're open to voting for him now? I mean, Q, bro, I give you way more credit than this. Cube is one of the smartest persons in the business. He is not your typical, rapper who just has skills, who can flow. Cube is way doper than that. And he's doper than that because he's always been smarter than most. He sees things before they come. And for him to fall into what I call the Van Jones trap is extremely disappointing. Van Jones thinks that, or thought I should say, that he could, sway the president and Jared Kushner and, to hear him talk about these glowing things. But you look at Van Jones today and Van Jones is like, yeah, they played me. You know why? They always do. It's fool's gold. Go to Atlantic City and talk to them about the real Donald Trump. He is not interested in you. He only uses black people for props. He's running the woman around who he gave clemency to. I'm glad she got out of prison. She shouldn't have been there. But he's running her around to use as a prop to make black people think that he wants to help us. Let me just end this with this before we go to break. Trump has taken care of everybody in the first 4 years that he promised. He started with what? Tax cuts to his richest friends. He gave them all money at your expense and my expense. He then backed that up with Supreme Court justices. He backed it up with packing the federal court. And so for people who say to me all the time, well, Mark, what did Obama do for us? Obama ain't do nothing for us. We may as well look at Trump. He appointed over 100 federal judges in his 4 years. Guess how many were black? 0. So of course, we can believe that the guy who had 4 years to hook us up, who never did it, but in the last 3 weeks before the election, who is now facing the reality that he may not be elected again, promises you a platinum plan. Brothers and sisters, that is fool's gold. And I thought Cube was smarter than that. I just did. I thought he was smarter than that. I'm not ready to cancel Cube for this, because I watched the video. He's coming from the right place, but man, maybe COVID did something. First of all, he got that beard. He needs to go shave that off. He looked like he's been in, I don't know. I better not say what I was going to say. That'll get me all kind of hate mail. But I'm just saying, COVID has done some crazy things to us, and maybe it's gotten his mind. I'm not sure, but don't go out like Van Jones. Trump means us. He does not mean us well. All right, I'm 2 minutes past the break. We got to take a break. When we come back on the Power Hour, we're going to talk to Kiera Bradford-Grace. She is our chief public defender. And like I said, I doubt we get to any other stories today because, Ice Cube and Raphael, I don't know what you're talking about. He is not a washed-up rapper. He's remained relevant all these many years, which is why we're talking about it today. We'll be right back.
Joe likes to say that character is on the ballot, and it's true. But let's be clear, this election is about building this country back better. And that's exactly what Joe and I will do. Bring back critical supply chains so the future is made in America. Build on the Affordable Care Act. And finally, offer caregivers the dignity, the respect, and the pay they deserve. We'll protect a woman's right to make her own decisions about her own body. Root out systemic racism in our justice system. and pass a new Voting Rights Act that will ensure every voice is heard and every voice is counted. We have a chance to choose a better future for our country.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.
Recovery starts with a call. Pennsylvania's Substance Use Disorder Hotline is staffed by real people who are trained to help. They're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They'll get you or your loved one into treatment regardless of your access to insurance. If you or someone you know is suffering from addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP. Recovery starts with a call.
Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
The pandemic is not only putting everyone's health at risk, it's also impacted our jobs and retirement security. And it's disproportionately affecting African Americans, especially those 50 plus. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. And if you choose to vote by mail, make sure you return your ballot using both envelopes. Your ballot goes in the smaller envelope for secrecy, and that goes into the larger envelope for mailing. Also, don't forget to sign the voter declaration on the back. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/PA votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/PA votes today. Paid for by AARP.
Tune in every Saturday at 4 p.m. for the Did You Know Show with host Bryant Green, right here on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM.
Everyone has a different journey to their vote, but we all take the same steps. If you want to vote, register by October 19th. If you want to vote by mail, apply now and mail your ballot back as early as possible, before November 3rd. Or bring it to a satellite election office. If you want to vote in person, go to your polling location on November 3rd. However you want to vote, we'll help you find the way. Visit PhiladelphiaVotes.com.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. It's your host, Mark Kelly Tyler. This morning, Bishop Dwayne David Roysta is hosting Wake Up with Word at 7 p.m. He's gone to the major leagues for today. Left me here in the minors. It's all good. But it's okay. The show is being co-hosted by Raphael this morning and Ant. I told you Raphael only likes to talk about chicken, preachers eating chicken, and Kamala Harris's ethnicity, which he continues to say is not black. But I forgot his other big topic is me riding motorcycles. So he has weaved them all together this morning. He said he wants me to go ride my motorcycle to Popeye's Chicken to get chicken tenders. Only if you're paying, bro. Only if you're paying. Shout out to Nick Talaferro, one Nicholas J. Talaferius, who is returned to the airwaves, who I understand is listening this morning. Nick, how did you get that title for a show? It's Evening Words with Nick Talaferro. Evening Words. He got some smooth evening words, I'm sure. Folks, we could talk about Ice Cube all day. Every show, we could go from here to Wake Up with Word to Charles Ellis and whoever comes on after him, and all day we could just stay right on this topic and it would not be enough time because it is so relevant. I mean, we're talking about the election and we're talking about an iconic figure who is sending mixed messages at absolutely the wrong time. I mean, just settle down, Cube. I mean, you are great, but I mean, the campaign shouldn't have to stop trying to win Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin to come and sit with you and kind of soothe your ego and say, okay, Ice, we're listening. I'll give you an hour or two. What do you need? See right here? Yeah, we actually heard it all before. We got a plan for it. It's on the website. We can't, but tell you what, Q, we can't do it if we don't win. And if we don't win, I tell you what, we know who's not going to do it. He's going to promise you platinum. He's going to give you fool's gold. All right. Enough of that for today. Right now we have on the line someone who is a real fighter for black folk here in the city of Philadelphia. She is Philadelphia's chief public defender. As I often say when introducing her, you know, when your rights are read, they say if you can't afford an attorney, we'll provide one for you. They give her a call. And she then looks in her Rolodex of her, I don't know how many attorneys she has to be hundreds. And says, here you go. You got the case. That's her, Kier Bradford Gray. Kier, welcome back to the Power Hour.
Good morning, Reverend. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. You know, I'd be better if Q wasn't acting crazy, man. I tell you, what's up with brothers these days?
You know, I'm with you. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And so it makes me more nervous that this will be Trump's second term, and he is less likely to need to do anything to help us than he was in his first term. And so to think that he's going to make a 360 in his term where he's going to be a lame duck, no, he's going to commit his plan to what he was doing for the people who he wanted to do it for, and he's going to use us to get him in another 4 years. I don't know what we don't see.
Look, I like Hugh better when he was saying, I never have dinner with the president. Oh, he needs to he needs to go back to that line right now.
That's right.
So Kier, you know, there has been this, that one of the big arching stories of this entire summer has been unchecked powers within policing in America, whether it's George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, or even here in the city where, you know, we just took a big step forward with looking at the contracts, and now the FOP is suing the city trying to stop it. Next week, 3 weeks from now on the ballot, police accountability will be on the ballot, calling for greater oversight. But we forget that it's not just the police department, it's all the other, you know, things connected, including places like the district attorney's office. Can you tell us about your client and her run-in with the head of homicide over the DA's office and where that stands right now?
Yes. So thank you so much for allowing me to talk about this. It's still an open case, so I won't go into every detail that we are finding out now. However, based on what she already talked to the press about, I can talk about those facts. You know, this case stems from a clear abuse of power. And like you said, it's not just policing that we should be discussing who should be held accountable. It's the entire justice system. Remember, with the Meek Mill incident, we were talking about holding judges accountable because there's no accountability there. And so we're slowly seeing all the pieces of the puzzle that allows for black people to be, I guess, oppressed in this system based on actors who feel like they can use their power whenever they're offended by our behavior. That really sounds like we're back in 1950s. So Miss Franklin, a 24-year-old African-American woman, and her friend were coming home one night and had the unfortunate enough to run into Mr. Anthony Voci, who's the chief of homicide. He's on his Harley. Now, this might suit Mr. Suleiman because we're talking about motorcycles. But Mr. Voci is driving on his motorcycle coming from a homicide scene. He's on Kelly Drive, which we all know is a very windy road, and sometimes people go into different lanes just accidentally, not necessarily intentionally, not recklessly driving, but just this road kind of creates that opportunity for people to run into other people's lanes. Well, according to him, seems like she went into his lane and he had to swerve to avoid being struck. Now, this is, seems like a similar everyday traffic situation that happens between people probably every hour of the day. But Mr. Voci believed that this was something that was either intentional with regard to her going into his lane and him having to swerve without getting hit or hitting anything else, or he was just very offended that she did that while he was on the road, decides to chase her in her vehicle and ride up alongside of her, telling her to pull over while shouting profanities about her driving. She, in turn, says that she and her friend shout profanities back. They don't know who this guy is. He's got a black leather jacket on, riding on a Harley, and he's a white guy. like, I don't know who you are, so what are you doing riding up on my car, scaring me in a hostile manner? Mr. Voce then proceeds to tell them to pull over and wait for the police because he was calling the police to arrest them. Does this sound familiar? I mean, Mark, we are in a civil rights moment where we just had Ahmaud Arbery get stopped by two vigilantes who thought that they had a right to tell him to freeze and stay where they are because they were making a citizen's arrest, and we know what happened to him. These things that are going on are real to us. So this young woman is afraid of who this man is, has no idea why he's telling her to pull over, and he's definitely not law enforcement, although he's saying he is. She stops at a, I'm sorry, you wanted to ask me something?
No. I'm thinking. I'm really just stuck though on what you just said about Ahmaud Arbery, because you're right. And I talked about the bird watcher this morning, who we know now made a second phone call and said this guy's assaulted. I mean, we are in a different space right now, so I could understand not wanting to stop for somebody who's trying to get you to stop in the middle of the night.
Right. And remember, she's 24, and her friend is in her early 20s, too. Anthony Voce is 57. We're talking about an escalation of a situation where this 57-year-old is riding up alongside of them, telling them to pull over, and they have no idea who he is. They stop at a red light, and he comes alongside of them and parks his bike in front of her car, telling her that she needs to stay where she is and going to be arrested. She then backs her car up and peels off. She's like, I don't know who this guy is who's stopping me on my bike. And once she does that, he then gets a copy of her license plate. He calls his homicide detective friends, based on what I understand at this moment. And his homicide detective friends then take him to the station where he makes a photo identification. I mean, this is getting really, really ridiculous. He's making a photo ID of the person who cut him off on Kelly Drive. They get her ID. They get her address. They go to her home, where they surround her home for several hours. She and her friends said they see all these cops outside of her door. They don't know what they're there for. She says she certainly doesn't think anything happened for her to be arrested. So she's thinking they might be there just because they're now following with this guy because he said he was calling them to arrest her. She and her friend catch an Uber to a place that they were going. When she comes back, those same officers are still outside of her home. This is now 4 or 5 in the morning that they are still there. They are flashing lights in the car. They're doing all kinds of things. And then the next thing she knows, they start to tow her vehicle. When she comes out of her home to ask why is her vehicle being towed, she was told that it was involved in a homicide. And this is according to her. And so once they say that this is involved in a homicide, she's saying, what are you talking about? They then start to arrest her. She gets upset, and she's saying, stop towing my car. I have a 6-year-old son. What are you doing towing my car? And she then is arrested, taken to the police district, where she is booked and charged with felony at first. This is where this district attorney charged her with felony. And it was subsequently to the AG's office where they dropped all the felonies and reduced the charges to reckless driving and reckless endangerment against the person. Now, I'm not saying that that's a good thing that they reduced the charges to that, because this should not be a thing.
Wait. Hold on, Kier. Hold on. I'm sorry, cut you off. So are you saying that based on, did he take video of her, like reckless driving? Or, I mean, because I'm assuming that she probably would say, I mean, I've been in enough road rage incidents where I've been the aggrieved, and probably where people would say, I'm the aggressor. Who hasn't, right? I mean, it's kind of what happens when we lose our temper. And so I think we've all been in that moment before. But, I mean, what kind of evidence did he have to justify even the police believing that this is what happened?
This is just his word.
His word.
His word against two people, other people, and it's really a back and forth. His word against theirs. And so the fact that he is able to weaponize his privilege in this way and use it to arrest and really traumatize a young girl, because it doesn't just stop with the fact that you did this to her, but the fact that she now knows that you can get people to come to her home. You can get people to arrest her, have her sit in jail for over 24 hours. And now she's paranoid that if she is anywhere, she doesn't know who's buddy and who's going to harass or antagonize her. This is what she's living with. And this is the plight of black people right now, suffering from the hands of people who are even saying they are progressive enough to understand what we go through, and they will root out systemic racism, but will not check their own power and privilege when it sits right next to them. And
wow.
It's really disgusting, Mark, that we don't see we're not as outraged about this as we are about someone charged with homicide when they did not actually kill the person. We're not as outraged when we have people who are wrongfully convicted when they know that they were the wrong person to begin with. And it is really indicative of the times we're in, right? This civil rights moment should demand much more from people that we put in positions of power to help deal with the systemic racism, but also some of the major violent crime that's going on in our communities that make us doubly taxed in this moment of trauma. You spent more time at this woman's house than you did at the homicide scene.
Yeah, I mean that, and let's not talk. Let's not forget that on that night these homicide detectives who sat at her house were coming from a scene where 50 bullets had been, sprayed all over the place. Let me just ask you one last question here, because we got to wrap it up and we're moving into the break. But I'm gonna get you. I'm certainly gonna get you back on as this story develops. But under normal circumstances, let's say I'm driving and somebody does something to me, they cut me off or whatever, and I'm just really angry about it, and I feel like they were reckless in their driving. Is there anything, that any possible way that me, regular citizen, could have the police go to their house and wait for hours, tow their car, and arrest them for over a day? Is there any way that could happen just because I had a road rage incident that had no violence, no touching one another? Is there any world where that happens? Just a regular citizen can do that?
Not at all. You know why? Because you can't do a site arrest for a misdemeanor, and even for a summary traffic ticket. It has to be caught on camera, or the officer would have to see it. That is the law. So this has no bearing on the law in terms of them being able to go to her home on this type of scenario, unless he made it way hyperbole and said she tried to kill him.
Wow. Well, I guess that'll all come out in whatever proceedings come. First of all, I don't even know why this was ever a thing and why it's still a thing. I mean, the state attorney general should just drop this completely. And in my opinion, if this is all true, that Voci should not be the head of homicide in the DA's office. What kind of trust can the community have in a person like this? I just find it really disturbing. I'd love to try to reach out to him to get him on to tell his side, because it just feels like so many of the stories that we always hear about how people take their power and misuse it.
It feels that way too, and we're still finding things out. However, there's not a lot to the story but her word against his. And so this is the issue is, Mark, why are we allowing this to happen right now? And why are we not hearing from our progressive leadership that is supposed to root these kind of things out? I think it's wrong, and I think it's something that we need to understand the character of the people that we are voting in and what they would be willing to stand for, especially in this moment.
All right, we'll leave it right there. That is Kiera Bradford Gray. You don't want to mess with her, in court or out of court. She is the chief public defender, with emphasis on chief. Thank you, Chief Defender, for getting up this early and coming on to talk. Have a good one.
You as well. Bye-bye.
All right, folks, we got to go to commercial break. This is the Power Hour, brought to you by Power Interfaith, but the views expressed are clearly mine. We'll be right back.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Store. Still not too bad overall this morning. Southbound 95, we're going to find that getting busy. Cotman down through Bridge to the work zone. Again, delays Allegheny through Girard. Further south between the Commodore Barry and Naaman's Road, delays are easing out as that overnight construction has been cleared. While westbound Vine Expressway, delays 8th out through Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Schuylkill westbound, heavy from University through 30th through that work zone. West of that city out to Belmont Lake eastbound, no major problems. PA Turnpike, Blue Route 476 still in pretty good shape this morning. 55 northbound getting heavy Deptford into 42. Staples helps your business with everything from office essentials to health essentials, all at amazing prices. This week, earn 40% back in rewards when you buy any 2 ink or toner cartridges. Offer ends 10/17 while supplies last. Details of staples.com/40 and rewards. Save big at Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Smith Play John is a new kids TV show produced by Smith Memorial Playground. Tune in Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on Comcast, Verizon, or PhillyCam.org for at-home play breaks, music time, story time, and to share your John. Details at smithplayground.org.
Hello, brothers and sisters. I'm Ryan M. Boyer, the businessman of Labor's District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity. This is the most important and crucial election of our lifetime. We need you to help us to win this election in Pennsylvania.
You can make change. Your change, your vote, it counts.
That's our power. Our power is in our voice. Our power is in our vote. The challenge has been issued. What are you going to do about it?
Paid for by the Labor's District Council PAC Fund.
Seniors, does your doctor regularly reach out to check on you? Can you walk into your doctor's office and see them if you need to? Do you have your doctor's cell phone number and can you call them anytime, day or night? At Dedicated Senior Medical Center, their only specialty is caring for seniors. Dedicated makes it easy to get the primary care you deserve. Doctors spend more time with patients than the doctors you may be used to. They offer telehealth visits, help you get your medications, and even make sure you get to your appointments. If your doctor isn't treating you like family, it's time to say yes to Dedicated Senior Medical Center. Call Dedicated Senior Medical Center today to schedule a visit and find out what you're missing. Call 267-443-1900. That's 267-443-1900. Appointments are available now.
Support for WURD comes from the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. You see them every day, in your house, in your neighborhood. They have been with you your whole life, providing comfort, reducing stress, cleaning your water. The plants and gardens around us have enormous impact in our lives. At PHS, we know a seed is more than a plant. Gardening is more than a hobby. That's why PHS invites you to join with them. Plant with purpose. Build healthier communities. Grow together. Learn more at phsonline.org/together.
Reverend Tyler, with November 3rd around the corner, do you know how you'll be voting this year?
Dr. Callahan, I requested my mail-in ballot, and I'm returning it the day it comes in the mail.
That's perfect, because we can't leave anything to chance this year.
Already received your mail-in ballot? You're just a few simple steps away from turning your mailbox into a ballot box. Here's how. After selecting your candidates, place your marked ballot into the small secrecy envelope and seal it. It's a 2-envelope process, so then you'll place the small secrecy envelope into the larger one. Make sure to seal that one too. Sign and date it, and then it's as simple as dropping it in your mailbox, no postage necessary, or returning it to your county election office. And if you still want to sign up to vote by mail or find out where to drop off your mail-in ballot, visit votespa.com.
I'm not waiting until November 3rd. I'm returning my mail-in ballot the day it comes in the mail.
Or you can return your ballot to your county election office.
I've got my plan. Make your plan to vote today.
Paid for by Power Interfaith.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
All right, welcome back to the Power Hour, folks. Again, this is your host for today, Mark Kelly Tyler, and Bishop Dwayne Royster is off for this hour, but he will touch base before we close out as he is hosting Wake Up with Word at just about 13 minutes from now. Great interview with Chief Public Defender Kier Bradford Gray, and I'm gonna tell you, listen, this is why I'm saying that, you know, as Black folk, we have to have a sophisticated approach toward electoral politics. You know, most of the political persons who are elected in this city are Democrat. In fact, one Republican got knocked off as a Working Families Party person took a seat on council this year. So I think they're down to one council member that's elected. You know, state is a different story. Federal government obviously is a different story. And so we really have to have some nuance in how we hold people accountable. I think that is what the real issue is. And, you know, so I hear Ice Cube and his frustration to bring it back to our first story, but I want you to hear his words. Again, you do have to read beyond the things that you're seeing on Facebook, that it is not just simply he is run to Donald Trump, but he has said he's open to it, which is troubling to a lot of persons, and myself included, although I kind of get where he's coming from. But this is his take on voting. We're going to listen to just a little bit of it. Go right ahead, Jordan.
Yo, what's up? This your homie Ice Cube. Here to talk to my black folks. You know, I just want to be straight up because there's a lot of messages going out about this election. First and foremost, anybody telling you that you gotta vote, that it's your duty, that you have to exercise the right, and that people died for you to vote. For one, people did die, but nobody walked out their house to go die for you to vote. They were killed by probably some racists that don't want to see us get anything. But I'm saying that to say this. Be skeptical of anybody telling you to vote and not telling you to ask for anything, or to tell you to just vote and not to get anything for your vote. That's not how it works. That's not the process. You don't vote just to vote. You vote because you're getting something, or your community is getting something. So everybody that's telling you that, man, look at them and say, what are you getting? Because people that just want you to vote and not ask for nothing, people that's in power that want you to vote but don't want you to get anything, or not asking for you to get anything economically, they suspect. Straight up.
All right.
Because a lot of people.
Hold it. That clip goes south in a second. Thank you. I don't need management calling me this morning about why didn't you boop, 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 boop. Because Cube was talking on Facebook, and obviously it's not censored. But you get the point, right? All right, Cube. I mean, I don't know even where to begin with that tape. So let me get Ernest Owens to help me out. Now, it's interesting to me because if you would have said to me before this election season started that Ernest Owens of Philadelphia Magazine, would be the person basically shaming black folk into voting no matter what, and Cube would be the one saying, you know, don't try to shame people. You know, when people tell you people died for you to vote. I mean, I don't know where he was going with that, right? Of course, we want to get something economically. It is always about resource allocation. It's about where money goes into public schools, which schools benefit. It explains why in Philly, children get $10,000 a year less per pupil versus right across City Avenue in the suburbs. Of course it matters. Of course a living wage matters. Raising the minimum wage matters. All of that matters. But you don't have to, I mean, to simply say that you're going to be uncritical and give your support to someone just because they basically bat an eye at you or pay attention to you. I mean, what is it about Donald Trump that just, you know, I don't know why, I'm going to talk about brothers, black men, Because right now, within the black community, we are the ones who are acting kind of funny right now. And I'm starting to believe some of those numbers that say almost 18% of black men under 50 are willing to give Trump a shot because of some of the stuff that I'm hearing. And I'm like, I don't understand what y'all are talking about. You know, what does this guy have that just makes you believe or makes you forget all the stuff? So you can remember 1994 and Joe Biden and the crime bill, but you cannot remember the same era and Donald Trump and the Central Park Five taking out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for their execution. And once they were exonerated, he still cannot apologize and say I was wrong. But somehow, you only remember one and you don't remember the other. What is wrong with you all? I mean, if you were making the case about both of them, that's one thing, but you excuse the one and the other has to pay for it forever, even though he has repeatedly said, I'm sorry. In fact, maybe Biden shouldn't say he's sorry. Maybe that's what you all like about it. He doubles down. So I'm appreciating Ernest Owens. He shocked me with this. I'll just read the top line. You can read his opinion piece yourself. If you're not voting in this election, yes, I'm judging you. He says the presidential candidates we have this election aren't ideal, but one of them could literally kill us all. Opting out is not an option. Would not have expected that from Ernest because I saw some of his earlier stuff in the primary and he was not happy about the choices. But Ernest is acting like he's the 50-something-year-old and Cube is acting like he's the 20-something-year-old. Your feelings are hurt because Biden didn't come talk to you personally? Man, I cannot tell you how many people I've heard. I mean, how many people that I know who have said similar things, who think they are of a certain status, that the campaign should have bowed down and kissed their behind. And since they haven't, not only am I not going to vote, but I'm going to be open to Trump. Are you crazy? That's speaking from privilege because, Cube, you're protected in your mansion. And as down as your lyrics are, you're sounding like you're a little out of touch, bruh. Bishop Dwayne Royster is on the line. I'm trying to get it ready for you. What's up?
Well, good. I am sitting in for Solomon Jones today, who will be out for a few days, but I am getting ready to get going here. We got a couple of great guests coming on today. Reggie Love, who used to be the personal assistant to President Barack Obama and a former Duke basketball player star, is going to be joining us today to give us a preview of the Biden town hall. We're also going to be joined by Kendra Cochran, who's going to talk about a new van service that's out there to take folk to the election sites, the satellite offices, and to provide even rides on election day itself. So we're getting ready. We coming. We're going to make this thing happen.
So check this out. You can listen in for a good 3 hours right after this when we finish. I just want to read you this. This is a comment from our thread on Facebook Live this morning. I don't know, Rico. Rico says, you're damn right I'm giving Trump a shot. He's a black man, apparently. He says, Trump wasn't a politician is the difference. His ad wasn't policy. Biden made policy that hurt us, period. Okay, check it out, Rico. That was 94. In 2020, Trump as president and his lack of handling coronavirus, which disproportionately impacted black folk, has killed 215,000 and counting, and many of them are black. I have buried many of them. I have members who have died. And so to say that it doesn't make that, see, this, what can we do about this, man? Help me.
I mean, some people are just going to do what they're going to do, right? There's not much we can do about that. He evidently believes that, you know, the pimp in chief is going to be the one that he wants to follow, and he's right to be able to do that. It's his choice.
Yeah, well, okay. I'm going to leave this argument for you. It is time for us to sign off on the Power Hour, and in just a few moments when you come back from break, I will take this raspy voice and try to do something so it doesn't sound so bad tomorrow. But Bishop Dwayne Royster is going to carry you the rest of the morning, and I'll be thinking about him as I'm having breakfast and coffee and saying, he's still on the air. It's 9 o'clock. Hey, thank you, Jordan, for holding it down. Thank you, Kiera Bradford Gray. Hey, Bishop, have a great show, and until tomorrow, we'll see you then, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Peace.
Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head.